Outsider up there with Coach Squeeze, aka the Smoothie King, part of the Rise podcast, man. Your prediction was right on the money with that, man. How you feel? Because under tremendous pressure with Team Spence on there, man.
Yeah.
And you stood in the pocket. Crawford never wavered. Crawford.
Yeah. I feel great for Crawford because the main thing, they was taunting Crawford for the last 2 years, calling him a duck, saying he was scared of Earl. Earl gonna walk him down. Earl gonna destroy him. And I'm a fan of boxing. That's number one. Ever since I seen Crawford come into the game, I knew something was special about him. And then he was switch hitting, and I was studying him pretty good because I go way back to Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler, Beast McGabbe's. But I knew something was special about Crawford. But to make a long story short, I just seen that style being a problem for Earl.
You know, just really looking at that, do you feel, in your opinion, based on what you saw in that fight, that Crawford could have stopped him earlier? Like, he let off the gas. Not saying he let off the punishment, because the punishment was still coming, but I felt as though he really could have stopped him probably between that 3 and 5.
I was blown away how quick Crawford jumped on him. I thought it was going to be, when I say styles make fights, I really thought this was going to play out in this fight. Earl was going to come out behind the stiff jab, down to the body like he normally do, back with the hook, back with the stick. But the answer to your question, yes. I think Bud pulled up off the gas a little bit. I think he wanted to show the critics that he was who he said he was.
Exactly. You know, I should have taken heed to what Sean Porter was saying for the fact he fought both fighters. Mm-hmm. And he was another person that never wavered that Crawford was going to do that. And, you know, I always go back to, in hindsight, looking back on it, how they were saying Spence would be much stronger than Crawford. But, you know, I had to sit there and really think about that. With the background that Bud Crawford have, with that wrestling background, that man deadlifts 450 pounds.
You seen that?
And
that went viral.
And you saw in the fight the way he pushed Earl. Mm-hmm. No problem. So that was definitely not a factor.
Yeah, well, the comparison I had, you got a Rottweiler and you got a pit. If that pit get to that Rottweiler neck first, he could finish him. And see, Bud, if you could look at Bud's body of work, how flexible that he is, y'all gotta understand that power comes with the torque of the turn of your hips and your waist, which you see Bud throws it. And his reach was longer than Spence. He had a little longer reach.
Let me ask you this, Coach. Was you surprised that he didn't really do the switching? He stayed in the pocket and pretty much did what Spence does to people.
You know why? Because Earl never really was used to facing a southpaw, especially of that high level of skill.
That caliber.
And like I told people, it's levels to this. It's levels. As y'all think it's a game. That boy Bud Crawford means boxing. You see, and no discredit to Earl, man. I always had him at my number 2 at welterweight. But I seen these issues with Earl early in his career. Because not do I only watch the fighters, I watch how can you beat them. Since Floyd Mayweather's, since the Sugar Ray Leonard's, I watch these guys, but I also sit back and say, damn, if I fought him, how would I beat him? What would it take? And what would I need to do to beat this guy?
I got another question for you, Coach. You know, Derrick James is taking some criticism from the critics about why he possibly didn't stop that fight. In your opinion, because you wasn't in the corner or been through the training camp with him, but just on the outside looking at the fight and observing, did you feel that fight should have been stopped?
Well, the answer to that question.
So he
And
doesn't take all the neurological damage, knowing that the fact that he had been in the car accident, the eye surgery. Did we want him to take more damage? Where he continuously took up to the 9th, 10th round, up to the 9th.
Well, I'm about to throw a curveball at you because the Orioles hot. They on fire. We leading the American League, baby. Now people ought to appreciate Sean Porter's dad a little bit more.
That's what I was about to bring up, and you bring it up.
That's that curveball I'm throwing you. They should appreciate Sean Porter's dad a whole lot more and give him the respect he deserved, because that he knew that his son was incapable of winning that fight and he wasn't prepared properly. So for him not to get hurt, his best interest was to protect his fighter. I think Derrick shouldn't get too much of a flack because he was in between a rock and a hard place. If I stop it, Earl probably told him that don't. You know what I mean? Let him go out on his shield. So that probably could have been between the coach and the fighter. You know, so I seen it time after time, man. When you know your guy outgunned, he bringing a 22 to the fight, and the other guy got an assault rifle or automatic assault rifle. You gotta step in, man.
With that being said, Coach, where do you put Crawford in the history as far as boxing? Woo! And it's kind of crazy because it's still early.
Well, he got 40 fights. You know, he got 40 fights. When I look, being my age, 54 years old, I've been following boxing since I was 6, 7, 8 years old when I was introduced to it. Me and my dad used to sit down and watch CBS, Wild World of Sports.
Wild World of Sports.
You know, and I watch Frazier, Ali, and all those guys, Sugar Ray Leonard, all the way up to now. Man, I actually think Bud could have fought them guys back in the Marvin Haglers, the Roberto Durans, because his versatility, and he got tools. He got a whole bunch of different tools that he can beat you with, and he's a hell of a counter puncher. That's what makes him special. So right now, just to be fair, I would have had to, I'm going to do it like this. I'm not going to give him a number because I don't want to disrespect nobody, but I'm going to say he could have fared in that generation.
In that era.
He could have fared in that era. I ain't going to give him a number because I don't want nobody to be disrespected. And the body of work and the fighters that they fought was put in front of them then, they fought who they fought. Them guys ain't ducked nobody back. And for everybody to say Bud Crawford was a duck, I caught flack on the podcast. I don't know if you were seeing it, man. They beat me up. I'm surprised my eyes
that's why I'm talking to you, Coach.
I'm surprised my eyes wasn't closed shut from the beating I took on the podcast.
That's why I say Crawford should have a sit down with you, man, because you held it down for him. He need to give you. He need to give you that interview for real.
I spoke up to him, man. I spoke up for him. I know talent when I see it. And I hope you get that interview. I'm just not a fanboy. I'm a fanboy of talent. You know, so Zeb, that's my take on it, man. I appreciate you, brother. Any more questions for me before we close this out?
No, that's it, man. Because we know we got to get inside, get ready for this media day. We a little late.
Yeah, we good. They ain't really rocking off yet. Yeah. But I appreciate you, man. Make sure y'all go on the Ropes Boxing. Check them out, man. Always giving the hot interviews and showcasing the talent that's out there. I appreciate you, Zed.
I appreciate you too, man.
Peace and head grease, the Smoothie King.
We out.
I'm the first female promoter in my area, so I want you guys to come out and support this movement. If everything goes like we think it is, we have a big surprise for the kids that we're actually giving back to the kids off of proceeds from the show, so you can go to Eventbrite to get tickets, and I hope you enjoy all of the boxes because all of them are phenomenal, and I just hope to give you a good show. Thank you.
At this boxing gym, all walks of life are welcome. that's one thing I like about this gym. The diversity that the gym displays it just makes me feel like I'm a part of something genuine. Like Coach Mike and Coach Leroy, you know, people walk in and they look over them and they do the basic jump rope, jumping jacks, shadow boxing. We don't care where they come from. We want to give everybody an opportunity to display their talents. But once again, don't forget, if you don't have your tickets, go on Eventbrite and get your tickets. You can get them at the door or you could go online, right? Am I correct? Eventbrite and get your tickets. And GTD challenge, correct? And it will come up. Cause I'm gonna tell you, man, my little nephew making his amateur debut, man, and this gonna be some fireworks, man. It's gonna play in Tights Bio Junior Crawford. Wow. So, sir, what we expecting from you?
A great performance. I'm definitely going to show this.
All right, y'all, show them some love. Show them what you got, dude. All right, man, show. Like Coach Cal would say, what do he say all the time? We what? Let's do what we do. Fighting out of Upton Boxing Center from Afghanistan, show you love for Robbie Jory. One of my
You already know. Out of Baltimore, Maryland, Catino. How you feeling, man? Man, I'm gonna tell you one thing. It's an honor and a privilege standing next to you. I remember when you was a little bitty bot running around here. What we expecting from you Saturday night, James?
A good performance, that's all I'm gonna say.
You heard what we called you, right? Future world champion. All right, big. He about to put it down, y'all. Enjoy this display. Get your tickets, Bad Girls Promotions, GTD Challenge, y'all. You don't want to miss it. All right, y'all.